Italy's business scope expands out into many branches of products such as cars, clothing, and design. They are established as an economic leader with companies such as Eni, Prada, Parmalat, and Prismane. Italy's economy is currently ranked 11th in the entire world. Italian business relations is paramount to the success of any company as they provide strong and influential business connections and relationships. Understanding and complying to their business communication etiquette and practices is key to an American company attempting to create a cohesive and honorable business relationship with these top companies. Italian business culture is generally low context, as they rely on verbal and face-to-face communication. This is apparent in their negotiation and meeting processes. In negotiations with Italian companies, they are generally lengthy because they place importance on analysis and careful decision-making. In fact, urgency and impatience is seen as an attempt to weaken the bargaining position. In the negotiation process, individuals are asked to report information to specific employees with their specialized roles, rather than reporting all of the information to one representative. Individuals are also expected to be able to adapt to sudden changes regarding the direction of the negotiation, as the meetings are very fast-paced. Importance is also placed on verbal commitments and informal agreements, which would then translate into final contracts. The meeting protocol is very similar to negotiation practices in Italy. For first-time communication, written forms such as faxes or letters are preferred to avoid possible language barriers and miscommunications. At the meeting, individuals are expected to shake hands and be friendly and informal to build trust between individuals. Verbal interruptions are tolerated in Italian meetings because they are viewed as a way to quickly address new ideas and elements as they surface, as opposed to American meeting protocol where they are seen as extremely disrespectful. While meetings generally have an informal mood, secretary notes are taken as a way to keep track of talking points, and professional dress is required to convey professionalism and commitment. An invitation to a restaurant post-meeting is customary, where alcohol is served and the host will pay. This post-meeting meal is seen as an opportunity to become familiar and establish a stronger trust between the companies. After a meeting, there is a letter sent to summarize the meeting ideas and create clarity. The low-context culture of Italian business communication is very similar to American business context. In the United States of America, importance is based on verbal communication and direct expressions. This is very similar to Italian business communication because they also focus on word-of-mouth agreements and face-to-face meetings.
Moving on to the legal and ethical differences, one of the fundamental principles to making effective and ethical choices from culture to culture is by actively seeking mutual ground during a specific confrontation. Flexibility is an essential element in maintaining ethical behavior, but in Italy, managers are known to ignore protocols, rules, and procedures and focus on their top priorities instead. For effective communication to occur, a confrontation between parties should be built upon trust for one another. Italians generally place a greater importance on social status and success than many other foreigners, and they want to establish a personal relationship with an individual before they will trust an individual in business. Italians are driven by both intuition and emotion, and they want to know who you really are before they proceed with any business transaction. Therefore, honesty should always be the basis of a conversation because they will not trust you until they feel comfortable about the person that you really are to them and not just the impression that you can give to them. In order to achieve success when in a business meeting with the average Italian, it is important to be aware of the popular Italian culture, including architecture, art, food, wine, and opera. As Italians take great pride in their unique way of life, they also expect that you do the same with your own culture in order to maintain both the professional and personal conversation.
Attitudes towards work and success. While Italians place great importance on family and private interests, the current high unemployment rate and the temporary nature of jobs place pressure upon up-and-coming business individuals to be more career-driven than family-driven. This is very similar to the American business culture in that young career-driven people, especially females, are expected to prioritize their job over starting a family. However, different from the common American tradition of moving away from family as soon as possible, Italians often live with their parents until they're married. This is generally attributed to economic and cultural restraints. Roles and status and use of manners. The pyramidal hierarchy plays a key role in the structure of Italian companies. Decisions are generally made through the travel of information from lower-level employees to their superiors and from their superiors to upper-level management. Employees have an immense respect for higher-level employees and have good connections with colleagues. Similar to the United States, professional titles and formality are required, especially within written communication. However, as a relationship builds between employees and even higher management, formal titles tend to be dropped and colloquial terms take their place. Openness and inclusiveness. Personal relationships are incredibly important within Italian business culture. Italians tend to ask personal questions about an individual's family and personal interests as a method of building trust. Establishing an honest and genuine relationship is paramount in the interaction with Italian companies.
When meeting someone for the first time in Italy, it is best to have a third person or friend as an accompaniment to this greeting because Italians are generally as concerned with who you know and not just what you know. Maintaining the la bella figura, meaning the way you present and conduct yourself, is the essential basis to Italian presentation in any business meeting. A firm handshake and eye contact are made from the initial confrontation of a meeting. And Italians are very personal and tend to talk with their hands, so they will most often approach you with a gesture of touching and portray many different facial expressions throughout a meeting.
As seen in Figure 1 from HRM Practices for an Aging Italian Workforce, the Role of Training, the age of the population of Italians aged 65 and over is rapidly growing and projected to be 33% by 2050. This is not reflected in the average age of the Italian workforce, however. According to Bombelli and La Zazzara, Italian companies start investing less in workers when they reach the critical age of 45, as workers above the age of 45 are considered to be in the final stage of their career. Older employees are stereotyped as unable to accept change, perform at a competitive level, and keep up with the growing and changing job requirements. These stereotypes lead to a vicious cycle of upper management pulling investment in older workers, and as a result, older workers performing at a lower level than those given the company's support. Older workers are less likely to be appreciated at a company because they often require higher wages because of their experience and loyalty. This is also reflected in United States business practices, as young people are often viewed as strong, energetic, and flexible, while older workers are considered unable to keep up and stubborn. There are positive stereotypes of older workers as well, though. These consist of ideas that older workers are more reliable, committed, and loyal to their company than young, career-driven employees. Unfortunately, these positive stereotypes are often outweighed by the negatives. Italian industries with higher levels of discrimination are finance, insurance, retail, and information technology.
In Italy, males are the predominant leaders in the business world, and most women do not hold higher-level managerial positions unless they work within a family company. Many Italian women are now working in various professions including law, medicine, and accounting. The employment rates for women have continued to rise in the past few years, so eventually a greater female presence will exist in the business world.
Roman Catholicism is a religion practiced by many Italian citizens despite the fact that Italy does not have an official religion. Throughout its history, Italy has been a divided country with many distinct regions consisting of individual dialects, politics, and culture. Due to this geographic division, Italians have developed a central love for the family. Religion, especially Roman Catholicism, continues to be a part of the family and lifestyle of most. Italians balance this religion with their normal way of life that focuses on art, science, history, literature, and music, instead of simply focusing on devout Catholicism. In the United States, many different religions exist across certain regions. Due to her size, Italy has less religious differences across the country than the U.S., but both cultures are shifting from the attitude of religion being the driving force to a household's way of life to a more secular existence.
On March 12, 1999, the Italian government created a law entitled the Law on the Employment of Disabled People. This law provides regulations on the right to employment for persons with disabilities. Through this regulation, Italy has become a diverse country, specifically in the business world, and more citizens with disabilities are getting the opportunity to earn higher-level positions despite any health obstacles. In the end, Italians want to see a hard-working individual who can potentially add a lot of value to a company given the proper training. Ultimately, the goal of the Italian business culture is to maintain high standards for yourself, the company, and the country. Italians take great pride in their unique culture, and business professionals and executives aim to reflect this Italian culture through their own companies. Italians also welcome foreigners in a polite manner, and most Italian citizens want to learn about other countries' cultures and traditions. They also do business professionally while balancing this professionalism with a hospitable and personal demeanor that makes business meetings less formal than other European countries. They also tend to be excellent negotiators and are very detailed about the contractual necessities of any agreement they make in the business world. In the end, all any Italian professional really wants is a personal relationship built on trust and effective communication so that the right balance is achieved in working efficiently in the Italian business world.
As a result of our research, we've come up with a few recommendations for the American-Italian business communication practices. We recommend being patient and relaxed during the business meetings and negotiations, as urgency and hastiness is seen as disrespectful. When preparing for the meeting, include time for informal, non-business conversation to help build trust and establish an honest working relationship. We also recommend that you act professional to convey dedication to the product being discussed. Using correct prefixes such as the individual's name and last name or dottori or dottoressa. While punctuality and formal procedures are not as important in Italy as in America, professionalism will convey an individual's sincerity and dedication. Dress specifically with the bella figura, or consultative image, in mind. Italy is a major center for European fashion. In order to make a good impression, it is important to dress according to the latest trends in chic fashion. For men, this includes well-cut suits and sports coats, and for the women, dresses or feminine suits are a sure way to impress any Italian business meeting. Another important trend in Italian culture is the act of gift-giving. Italians are very generous gift givers and will be offended if the gift is too cheap. Simple items such as fresh flowers, delicate pastries, or rich chocolates are one of the many ways that Italians express generous hospitality. And finally, Italians enjoy socializing with workers outside of their regular office hours. It is not uncommon for an Italian manager to invite his or her workers to a dinner at their home, and may expect their workers to do the same. Oftentimes, Italians will take offense to a refusal of an invitation for a coworker to socialize, so it's important to make socializing a priority in order to maintain proper Italian business etiquette.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope this aids you in your journey of becoming business alliances with Italian companies.